Hey, welcome to yet another Talk Wednesday, my favorite day of the week because I get to talk to really cool people. And my guest today has a really cool accent, and I can't wait for you guys to hear it. But before I introduce our guest today, I really want to thank our Pursuit 365 founder, Miss Shelley Lynn Hughes, because of course, without Shelley, Helen and I wouldn't be here with you guys today. And also, it's so important to thank our Talk Wednesday sponsor, Leanne Miles at the Clinton Wilkins Mortgage Group, because without Leanne's generosity, we wouldn't be here either. So, ladies, thank you. Because I love these Talk Wednesdays. So, without further ado, I'm excited to introduce you guys to Helen Hodgson, coming to us from where in British Columbia? I know you're in BC somewhere, Helen, but where specifically?
I'm actually in Burnaby, just outside of Vancouver, where the sun is shining down and we've actually got cherry blossoms already.
Amazing. Burnaby is very near and dear to my heart. I worked in Burnaby for a while, and that was where I resided with my husband when we were first married. So I love that area. I've spent a lot of time, and who knows, you and I probably our paths crossed in a grocery store at one time or another. But we're not here to talk about that. So, Helen, we know after hearing you speak that you're clearly not from Burnaby, BC. So, where do you hail from originally?
Dash, the accent gave it away, eh? I, I'm originally from York in the north of England. So I came here as a tourist, way back in 2000. And what can I say? Fell in love with the place and also fell in love with the business. I was in the spa industry in the UK and had a manufacturing business over there. Came over here and went to a spa, and I'm like, oh my goodness, you guys are a decade behind Europe with all of the equipment. So my little business light bulb went on, and I'm like, perhaps I'll move to Canada, which is what happened. And
Wow.
yeah, everybody thought I was absolutely crazy, apart from my mum, who herself an entrepreneur, was like, go for it, Helen. So that's what I did. I moved just outside of Toronto and opened a big 3,517 treatment room spa out there. But 2 winters was enough. I'm sorry, you guys have so much stamina. I'm so impressed. I just couldn't do it. So I headed out west and ran away to the cherry blossoms and the fact that snow doesn't normally stay for very long here if we do get it.
That's so true. Yeah, see, and having spent so many years there, I was over the gray spray rain, but not rain. I like the seasons. I like the snow and those beautiful sunny days that glow after you get, but I totally get it. And British Columbia is a really special place. So good for you for finding your second home. Okay, so I want to circle back to the fact that we here in Canada are a decade behind in technology over England. Okay, expand on that, Helen. I'm fascinated. Oh, I want to hear more.
We've caught up a lot, but way back in 2000, especially when it came to equipment, people in Europe and in England, we didn't think twice about actually using technology to really help us. So we had these pieces of equipment that work on inch loss, that work on the fat cell equipment now that really, when we look here in 2023, is a lot more widespread. So we've done a lot of work in the past 23 years, but way back in 2000, it was pretty much no one had heard of this stuff. So it was great as an entrepreneur because we came in and everybody was like, "Whoa, what's this?" and tried it and fell in love with it. And then the distribution just started naturally because then spa owners were hearing from their clients about this new thing and what it could do and how great it was. So then spa owners were calling and going, "Hey, where do I get this?" So we naturally became the North American distributor, and the rest is history. We've been distributing the Eurowave now for 23 years, and we have our services in 400 spas across North America.
Okay, so you kind of touched on this. So before you and I hit record, so Helen and I have been communicating via email, setting up this dialogue and whatnot. And Helen's emails are all signed off with Body Beautiful Canada. But then, Helen logged on to StreamYard here with me today, and I'm like, okay, I see. Is it Tech Canada or is it TEC Canada? Which is it, Helen?
It's actually tech. It's an acronym for the executive committee. I just thought I'd throw you a curveball right at the last minute.
I love that. But you and I were having a good, so you had said you started here and it evolved here. So I'd love for you to share with everyone else, sort of how Body Beautiful, became TEC or tech or whatever it is. So share that, Helen.
Absolutely. So I'm pretty much wearing two hats. Body Beautiful Canada has been established for such a long time, and during the decades, I've had the opportunity to mentor new entrepreneurs, and found that really, really fulfilling. The ability to be able to give back. So I turned 60. I can't believe I'm admitting that on the internet, but here we go. I turned 60 in January and realized it was time to start more doing soul work as opposed to anything else. So when I was approached by the executive committee to actually facilitate and be the chair for peer group, and it's a peer group of business leaders, entrepreneurs, CEOs. We meet 6 times a year, and it's all different industry leaders. And then I'm doing some one-to-one coaching with those leaders as well. So it's kind of like my focus is, I love Body Beautiful. I created it as my baby, but it's time now to, in this different chapter, to do something just a little different and give back.
Okay. So now on your website, I was doing a little bit of research on you, and there was two specific, I'm going to say services, but this is where, I'm going to turn to you to educate me. So I saw that there was something called Eurowave. And then I also discovered there was something, and I'm not sure how to pronounce it. So I'm going to qualify that if I say it wrong, you're going to correct me. So Eurowave, and is it Shungite, Shungite, Shun Shungite.
It's actually Shungite is how it's pronounced. Well, this is how it's pronounced with a British accent. I'm sure North Americans may do it differently, but Shungite. So the Eurowave
Okay.
is all about targeted inch loss. It's an electrical muscle stimulator. So you take a part of your body that you don't like and we make it disappear. In an 18-minute session, you're getting the equivalent workout in the muscle of 200 sit-ups. So it's a measurable result. 18 minutes, you stand up and you go, wow, I can see it. So the Eurowave is, I'm sorry?
Is that? No, that's what the Eurowave is?
Mm-hmm.
Is okay.
So this is
So
the
this is fascinating to me.
Mhm.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, this is
This
the
is fascinating to me. Go ahead,
it's
Helen. Go ahead.
it's the inch loss treatment that I was referring to at the beginning, that when I first came here, no one had even heard of it. So it's come now that it's a lot of places. So we've been to the Oscars with it. We've been to the Emmys. We've been to the Canadian Country Music Awards. Lots of celebrities use it, and lots of normal people like us, the rest of the world, get to use it as well.
Amazing. This is making me think back. So we're going to go back to like 1988, 89. I was a figure skater back in my younger years. And when I quit skating, I started coaching, but I also, I was so used to as an athlete going, after school to the rink, before school to the rink. So what I started to do instead was to go to an aerobics class. But I always, was very self-conscious about my hips, the saddlebags, so to speak. And there was interestingly enough, a British woman that had a little office at the gym that I went to that had a very similar machine that was supposed to be like the equivalent to me doing hundreds of leg lifts, so to speak. And so I had those treatments back in the day, and they worked. And like, man, you felt them. You really, really did. You felt that stimulation, and woo. So that's very, very interesting. So I'm assuming it was maybe an early version of Eurowave, but it's just ironic to me that it was this British woman, and now I'm having a conversation with a British woman all these years later. Okay, so you really, in a sense, then have brought this to the forefront in Canada. Is that what I'm hearing, Helen?
Yeah, absolutely that. The Eurowave was actually developed in 1995. So there could have been an outrunner that came here before me, and actually brought a machine. But
Hmm.
what you're describing is exactly what the treatment is. You pick an area of your body you don't like, and the treatment is targeted to that area.
Amazing. Okay, so I love that you specifically said 18 minutes. So where did that specification come from? Because I'm guessing there must be some science behind this.
Absolutely. It was all about recognizing that, especially here in North America, we're very, very, very aware of time. So it was a case of what's going to give us the maximum results for the minimum amount of time. So you can do an 18-minute treatment, or you can do a 30-minute treatment, depending upon how much time you've got to before you want the results. So let's say someone is going to Mexico next Saturday, and we literally have 7 days, 8 days, then we're going to do longer treatments so that we can get the result quicker.
Okay, okay. So now, again, my head is, I've got a million questions, I feel. So am I now understanding correctly that, so you in essence brought this technology over, and then you're educating others, and are you then like a distributor where, if I owned a spa, which I don't, but if I owned a spa and I was like, okay, I want this in my spa, then you train me on how to do this, and then it's a service that I can incorporate in my spa? Is that part of what your business model is?
Yeah, at Body Beautiful Canada, especially, we literally usually get the phone call, and exactly that. It's a spa where either one of their clients has come in and said, "Hey, I've tried this Eurowave. You guys ought to get it," or it's a spa owner that's stumbled across it herself as a treatment or done the research. And we get the phone call, and it's like, I'm in Regina. I would love to add your service in. So then we, as part of what we do, there's a very intensive training because we want to make sure that the therapist gives the best possible result for the client. So we have the training as part of the whole package so that by the time we leave, the therapists are as good at delivering the results as what we are. But during that time,
Hey.
yeah, lots of conversations with new entrepreneurs, especially women who are maybe in their mid 40s looking to do something different. And this is a really, really, it's a great job as a therapist. We just make people happy. So we get lots
Mm.
of phone calls from new entrepreneurs that are like, hey, could I do this as a new business? Which is where the actual coaching side and mentoring came in during the journey as we set up some new spas and set up some new enterprises with people.
Okay, great. So then so I'm in Ontario and you're in Burnaby and I'm like, okay, I, obviously I'm not heading to Burnaby anytime soon, although I would love to. But how does one then find out where they might be able to find this service, in their area or in their neighborhood? Because we know with so many of our Pursuit 365 authors, we're literally all over the country. So is there, a specific website where somebody could go to, figure out if there's this service somewhere in their area or
Absolutely. If they go to the bodybeautifulcanada.ca website, there is actually a little form and they can say, I'm in Ottawa or I'm in Regina. And much as I'd love to run to Burnaby, it's not happening. Is there anywhere close to me? And then we send them the closest location.
okay, beautiful. So I love that. Okay. So that's Eurowave, that's inch loss,
Hmm.
um that's that. Okay, so now we're gonna move to Shungite. Shungite, I think is how you told me I'm supposed to say that. What is that, Helen? Tell me about that.
It is a naturally occurring element that blocks EMF. And it's the most amazing stone. It's 98% carbon. However, unfortunately, with the way that things are happening in the world at the minute, it comes from Russia and we cannot bring it in. So at the minute, everything is put off to the side until things settle. Let's put it that way.
Okay, so you mentioned MF. So
Yeah,
for the ignorant folk, what is MF?
EMF, it's electromagnetic field. So it's things that are emitted
Okay.
from phones, from our computers, from our microwave, TV, everything. And what the shungite does is it acts as a natural barrier to those rays and actually blocks them. So normally you would see I'd be wearing my shungite earrings because I've always got my phone at my ear, or I've got shungite bracelets.
Okay.
So we have jewelry, we have statues, we have lots of things with it normally, but not at the minute because I I,
Okay.
I just can't order from Russia at the minute. I just can't.
No, and that makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense. And see here, it's so interesting, right? As I meet all these new people and learning all these things that we have no idea exist out there, right? And again, we take these things for granted, these computers that we live on, right? And we do forget what comes along with them. And so that's why it's amazing that people like yourself um are willing to share your knowledge to help educate us, because we don't know what we don't know. And and you do it in such a great way, Helen, because a lot of times people, they talk down to people, in the, like, how can you not know this? But again, we only know what we can know. So what has been your absolute favorite thing about being an entrepreneur? You mentioned that your mom was an entrepreneur, so you were raised, maybe different than some, but did your mom inspire you, or was it just opportunity that presented? I would love to know a little bit more about that journey for you.
My mum most definitely inspired me. I mean, she was an entrepreneur back in the 1960s when female entrepreneurs were extremely rare. So we have very fond childhood memories of she had a printing company, and as kids we would stuff envelopes with her printed material and deliver them. So it goes back to being 5, 6 years old. But the one thing that really always struck home was the fact that she was always in control of her own pathway. So if if she wanted to take time out to be able to school with us for a concert, then she did. If she wanted to not work for a week, she did. She was always in control. So there was something very powerful about that. And it was a case of, I wanted that for me. And I've passed that down to my daughter as well. She now has her own business because it's a very unique journey being an entrepreneur. It really is. But the best
It
experience,
is it. Mhm, mhm.
the best experience I have to say was when the products that we promote, when they were first at like the Oscars and the Emmys, that was really cool. That was when I realized that we'd done something quite unique as a company, because the product, when I came here, as I said, no one knew what it was. No one had even heard of it. And to be at that point, that's when you can look back and go, okay, all those ups and downs, because that's what being an entrepreneur is. For every up, there is always a down. All those ups and downs are actually.
Okay, so how does one get their products at the Oscars, and how did that all unfold? How did that happen? Was right place at the right time, a specific contact that then led, or how did that happen, Helen?
A lot of hard work. um, you start off with raising the profile of a product, and we were very, very lucky in that we had Miss Canada was one of using our products across in Saskatchewan, and she actually approached us and said, I love these products, can I help you? And I'm like, oh my gosh, of course you can, that would be amazing. So she was very much a part of our publicity, and it was waving the Canadian flag as well. So it was great on so many levels. Um, so she definitely got us down to Hollywood, and then once we got down there, the spa owners started taking notice, and then once the spa owners started notice, we managed to get into some, like Ole Henriksen, and we got into some spa, some very, very important people as customers. And I was very privileged to be able to do some treatments on some very, very well-known celebrities. And then they start asking, well, why don't you come and do this? Why don't you come and do this? And before you know it, you're in front of A-list stars, and I'm turning to my girls and I'm like, who's that? You know, I come from England. I don't know who all these people are. And I'm like, oh, we're so big and important. I'm like, okay. So they fun with us, that is for sure, and we had fun down there as well.
Cool. Do you want to share who your favorite celebrity has been to work with?
I can't.
Look at you, stiff upper lip.
But I will tell you, to give us all some hope, they work so hard, and everything that we see on screen, oh my goodness, they work so hard for it. It's, yeah, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. I kind of like sitting in Burnaby, and if I want a muffin, then I can have one.
It's all about perspective, isn't it? Right? It really, really is. And we're not all meant to do the same things, because if we all did the same things, our world would be very, very lopsided. So I totally respect that that buttoned up, and I appreciate the glimpse behind the curtain, so to speak, right? Because a lot of us, I think, want to assume that they just make all this money, and they live, this glamorous, world, where they really don't do anything. So I think it's great that you're sharing that. That's not the fact at all. So thank you for that. Thank you for that. So, Helen, if somebody wants to, they're intrigued and they want to reach out to you, where's the best place for people? What's your favorite way of being contacted, or do you really care? Is it through your website? Is it
most people come
through
through
social media?
Most people come
Okay.
through the
Okay.
So bodybeautifulcanada.ca. Give us a call. I mean, the office phone is here, so it's 604-298-1189. So whichever works. So social media, it tends not to be me that's dealing with that, but even through social media, it will filter back down to me as well.
Perfect. 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 So is there any last minute like tips or tricks or little nuggets that you'd like to leave anybody with?
If you're an entrepreneur, surround yourself with like-minded people, because one thing over the years I have learned is it can be quite a lonely road. So, they say it takes a village to raise a child. I think it needs a stadium to be an entrepreneur, because you need to have people to talk to. And sometimes you don't have that within your own circle. So if you don't have it, go and look for it, because it can make so much of a difference.
Oh, that's a truth bomb, a truth bomb for sure. And yeah, only other business owners really get that. If I'm sure every entrepreneur, business owner, if they had a dollar for every time somebody says, "Oh, you just get to write everything off," they forget that, like, we actually have to pay for it first. You know, it doesn't just magically evaporate. It's still us, because we are the business paying for it. So just want to dispel that one. That's one of the ones that drives me the craziest, right? You get to write everything off. Oh, but being an entrepreneur truly is a labor of love, and like you, I wouldn't trade it for anything, not for anything.
It's definitely, you have to be cut from a certain cloth. That is for sure, as we say in England. And it's a fabulous journey. It's an exciting journey, but sometimes it can be tough. What can we do?
For sure. Okay. That's right. Exactly. Exactly. Okay, Helen, before we wrap up, I've been having a ton of fun with one particular question, and I can't not ask you the question either. So we've learned a lot about you, your journey to Canada, your journey through Canada, you as a business owner, and as a forward thinker and someone who's light years, ahead of things. So I want to kind of peek behind the curtain and learn a different side of you. So it's through a question, and the question goes like this. So if you were to do a TED Talk on nothing that you are known for, right? So nothing that we've talked about so far today, what would your TED Talk be about?
Well, you could have prepared me for that one before we started.
I haven't prepared anybody for it. So that's why it's such a great question.
It would be, how do you find out what your life's purpose is? Because sometimes we get wound up in the noise of just walking it, that we don't step back in to think, what's the real reason I'm here? What's the higher purpose of all of this? So I think something along those lines.
And is that some of what you're going to share in your Pursuit 365 story?
Honestly, I'd not even thought about it until you just hit me with that question. So
there you go.
Yeah, it's opened a curtain. Thank you.
Hey, it's my pleasure. It's not. It's a question I've borrowed from a podcaster that I really admire. He's a gentleman I did some business coaching with, and it's just such a brilliant question. I should maybe start, these chats with it, but I've been enjoying ending with it, and it just gives a little tweak into a different side of people that I've been really, really enjoying. So thank you for embracing that question so openly. And again, you just revealed a whole other layer to Helen. So I was saying with someone the other day that it's almost like we need to do, part 2 of these conversations and pick up from that question and continue moving forward. So Helen, it has been absolutely my pleasure meeting you, learning more about you, and thank you for bringing, your knowledge and this advanced technology here to Canada, and for gracing so many people and changing lives, really. Yeah, thank you. You're a trailblazer. You are a true trailblazer. So it was absolutely a pleasure chatting with you. Thank you for your time. Thank you, of course, again to Shelley Lynn for this platform, and to Leanne Miles for her sponsorship. Any last words, Helen? I'll leave you with the last word.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Now you've got me thinking about what my 365 is really going to look like, because it's now completely different. Back to the drawing board.
I love that. Perfect. All right, folks. Well, you'll be able to pick up the book. I think in the spring is when Shelley's hoping to launch it, but you'll be able to learn more about Helen there. And thank you for tuning in. Happy Wednesday. Have a fantastic day, a fantastic week, and we will see you next time.